Morning, everybody. Carmen here with Quality Sewing. And for this week's How Do I, we are going to do one of my favorite things, which is how do you make houseplants that don't die? I don't know about you, but I love plants in my house. I love plants everywhere. And we have had a lot of fun here making these OESD freestanding houseplants. And so today I'm going to take you through how you do that. This technique is very similar to applique. So it's an applique technique inside your embroidery hoop. So I'll talk through a little bit like how you might use this for this technique for almost any form of applique. But today we are going to do this applique technique to make the freestanding houseplants. So you can see behind me all of these houseplants. And what we've done here at Quality Sewing is in our offices here at our headquarters, we don't have like a ton of light, like natural light coming in. So we can't have a lot of natural real plants. So instead we have an office full of these plants because they're just sort of fun. So you can sort of see behind me all the different ones. I'm going to pull some around here and show you how they sort of look so you can sort of see where we're going. So you can see here, these are all these different fun leaf shapes, and these are made with felt. And I'm going to show you this technique. And what's really cool is that when they are all done, you can see, I should maybe have pulled one off, but you can see that this is just, I pull it higher here. So here's the leaf. We're going to make one of these today. And then this leaf guy here, you can see the wire in my hand, and you can just, it actually creates a spot, so you can just put the wire in there. And this wire is just like any of that floral wire. You can use that floral like green tape. So this is really fun because you get to arrange them however you want. And you can see you can make the leaves bigger or smaller. You're going to be amazed when I show you all of the different ones behind me and then how many it doesn't look like there's that many leaf variations on this, on the actual design pack, but what you can do with them is what is really fun. So you can see here there's a couple of different leaf variations, and then I'm gonna grab some of the other ones. I'm gonna do lots of spinning today on my chair. So you can see here's another one. This one has a little bit more definition, and they have some stitching there. We've also done some fun stuff, like this guy has a little ladybug on it, which is sort of fun. You can put ladybugs, you can like really play with it. We put some fun moss in here. You can use all sorts of different little pots, just like, I don't know about you, but I love pottery, right? All sorts of different little pots you could put them in. And let's grab a couple of the others that look really different. So these two, I'm gonna grab this one that's hiding. You can see there's even one that looks like a fern, which is pretty fun. This one is, that guy there. This one is another style that's sort of crinkly, but you can see that you can do all sorts of different styles of leaves. So let's get started, and I'm gonna show you how to actually embroider these and just how easy and fun it is. So I'm gonna set my plants down, and we're gonna start over here on the machine and put my little plants back where they were. So I have a little bit of room. Okay, so we're gonna start with the machine. So the designs we're using are called freestanding houseplants. Here, I'll put it, I think so you can see it there. It's freestanding houseplants. And these designs, when you buy them like this, they come on a USB stick. So I'm just taking this USB stick and I'm putting it in the side of my machine because my machine has a USB port. And then I'm just gonna go to embroidery, and you can see down here, I could go to my machine to find more designs. I could wirelessly transfer designs, or what I'm gonna do is I know that I put it in this USB pocket. So I'm gonna select that there, and it shows me all the information that's on that USB stick. But I wanna go to designs, and then I know that this machine takes the PES format, but you can see here that these USB sticks, all of these different OESD designs come in all of the different formats. So we're gonna go to PES. And here are all of the different leaf variations. It's amazing how many different types of leaves and shapes you can make with these different variations, right? The fern one is there. Today we're gonna do one of these Monstera style ones. So I am just going to select my pattern right here. And you can see the pattern right there. So I'm gonna go to set it. And I could, within this space here, if I wanted to, I could go to edit, I could rotate it, I could make it bigger, right? I could move it. I could do all of those normal things, right? So if I wanted to make it a little smaller or a little bit bigger, any of those things, you can still manipulate it. But I'm pretty good with it, just mostly the way the size that it is. So we're gonna say okay. But what's fun is if you were going to be making some different plants, leaves have different sizes, right? So you'd wanna make some big, some smaller, then that's sort of, you know, the fun of it. And then we will go to embroidery, and it's basically telling me it just needs 2 colors. So now we're gonna go over and we're gonna get set up for the embroidery itself. So over here, I'm gonna set this aside because we're gonna want this a little bit later, but not just yet. Over here, we have a hoop. I have it all ready to go here, and I have some stabilizer. So the stabilizer that we are going to use for this is OESD's medium weight. Can you see that? Okay, perfect. Medium weight tearaway, and this medium weight tearaway is black. And the reason why you want to use black stabilizer for these leaves is because you're using generally darker colors and darker fabric. So that way, if you don't get all of the stabilizer out, you don't really see it, right? Like if you look at this leaf here, I think you can see this. If there was some white sticking out, you would really notice it, right? And that wouldn't look like a plant. But if you have black, you're not going to notice it. I actually love using black stabilizer whenever I'm working on really dark fabrics. So if I'm working on like a black t-shirt or something, then I might use black because you don't want to have any of that white sort of popping through, if that makes sense. And so this is one of those times when black stabilizer makes a lot of sense. So I have my stabilizer cut here, and I have my hoop, and then what I have down here is called a grippy grid. And the grippy grid is awesome because when I stand up here to do my hooping, see, this is it's like a silicone mat, and it makes it so my hoop doesn't really move or slide away from me. And I don't know if you've ever had that problem, but I have definitely had my hoop slide away from me before. So I'm going to get my stabilizer. I'm fighting with the plants here. Let's see here. Get my hoop in here. And what's great is my bottom hoop, because I'm using the grippy grid, has just stayed in place. It hasn't like shifted. And you can see, yes, I could really push it if I wanted to, but it really is helping hold that so the hoop isn't, the bottom hoop isn't sliding away from me. So you get this hooped up, and then we come back over here. I'm gonna make sure my hoop is as tight as I want it. Tighten it up just a little bit. And we're gonna put, the hoop on our machine here, and our machine is all threaded and everything. I am just going to, now I don't really feel like I need to use black thread. It's suggesting I use black thread and then green thread. I know this is just giving me an outline, so I am going to simply just use green thread and not change my thread. Okay, so we're just gonna get it going here. And this doesn't take very long. What it's going to do is it's going to stitch the outline of the design. So the outline of the design, and the reason why we want to have the outline done for us is we need to lay some felt down here, and we need to know where that felt is going to go, right? So OESD now has, I'm gonna probably walk in front of the camera, sorry about that. OESD now has all of these different felts. Now, of course, you can use any felt, but it's sort of fun that they also make felt. And we are going to use some of this green felt today. And then, you know, there's lots of different felts out there and lots of different colors. So, of course, you could pick green felt of different variations depending. You can see some of these plants are done with fabric and some are done with felt. And that's part of what has made them look so different. Okay, so now we have the lovely outline of our Monstera leaf here. I think that's what the name of this style of leaf. So now I have 2 pieces of felt, and we're actually going to use them both. So the first one I'm going to lay here, and we're going to tape down, I can find, I'm using the OESD tearaway tape. This tape is super helpful. There's so many times when, you know, you just need to tack something down when you're doing embroidery. And this tape is just an easy tearaway tape. It's not too sticky. You know, if it ends up getting embroidered on, no big deal, easy to pull away. But we're going to use it to tack down the edges here of this felt. And then, because we want the leaf to look like this guy, right? It has felt on both sides, we're gonna put felt on the back as well, which is sort of different. And then, like I was saying earlier, most embroidery designs that are designed for applique, that are embroidery designs, are gonna work just like this one, where it's going to give you this, the first thing it's gonna do is give you this outline, or it's gonna give you this outline at some point in the design process that tells you, here's your outline, now lay your fabric, then it will do the satin stitching. But we're gonna pull our hoop off here quick, and we're gonna flip our hoop over, and we're gonna do the same thing, so obviously you can see on the back side where those stitches are gonna go, and you're gonna lay that felt there. I'm gonna find the edge of this tape, and we're gonna use that tape here as well. So super easy, maybe a little bigger. You really only need to do the 4 corners, but I have an extra piece, so I'm just gonna tack it there. And then I'm gonna flip this over, I'm gonna slide in here. And then we would just have it continue embroidering. So what it would do now is it's gonna go through and do all of the rest of the shape. So the shape we are doing is the same as like this guy here. And so it's gonna go in and do the rest of these, the stitching here as a denser stitch, and it's gonna also create that little panel right there, so that way you can put the wire in. So naturally, I have one of these already done. So we're gonna pause that, we're gonna grab my done one here, we're gonna pull it up. So you would just take this out of your hoop. And here you can see on the back, right, you would trim your little jump stitches. This stabilizer is all a tearaway stabilizer. Now, if this was a traditional applique design, that wasn't freestanding, what you would do is you would use, I like to use a duckbill scissor like this one, and you would get it in there and you would just trim, you would trim around all of these edges, but just the top layer, right? If it was a traditional embroidery design. But since this is a freestanding embroidery design, it's super easy. I get to take my I love these kite scissors. Kites are like my favorite scissors. So you just take a good pair of scissors and you are just going to cut all the way around your shape here. And since it's felt, it's super forgiving. If you wanted, you could first go through and tear out your stabilizer and then cut around it. But basically all you're gonna do is you're just gonna trim all the way around your leaf here, right? And then you are going to be able to, once you trim all the way around the leaf, it's going to come out and be just like this guy right here. And then it will allow you to slide it into any of the different wire. And then, of course, what's really fun is all of the different ways that you can be like a floral arranger, and you can arrange all of the different leaves however you want them. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can use different colors of felt, different colors of thread to give them different textures. Or like these ones, you know, this was done with a regular fabric on top and then the felt on the bottom. So you can see that there's lots of different ways to have a lot of fun making a really different variety of houseplants that will never die. And guess what? You never have to water them, which is pretty awesome. I also think these would be a really cute like housewarming gift for somebody, or when someone's, you know, in your office. Obviously, we ton of them in our offices. So anyway, we thought this was a lot of fun. Hopefully you learned something, or maybe you just learned how easy it is to make these. And so we'd love to see what you make. post it. Every week at 10 a.m. we go live with a different how do I, and the content varies wildly depending on what inspires us each week. So happy spring, and if you have any questions or if you want to purchase any of the things that I have just talked about, check us out at qualitysewing.com or throw a comment here in the comment box. Have a great week.